If you've watched my top 10 best Mario games video, you'll know that my personal favorite Mario game of all time is Super Mario Odyssey. And that is largely because of all the variety of kingdoms it has. Like, you can do a lot of stuff in these kingdoms, and they make the game so good. Each one of them obviously is open world, outside of a few. And in this video, I thought I'd rank my favorite kingdoms in this fantastic game. So with that said, let's go. The Ruined Kingdom really isn't anything special. It's basically just a boss fight, and there are like 3 other moons with like only that one where you climb up a tower being interesting. So, this kingdom is literally just a boss fight with one interesting moon, other than the boss fight. That's about it. There's really nothing to do here. And the Cloud Kingdom isn't much better either. Again, it's just a boss fight. I mean, the Ruined Kingdom had a much more interesting boss fight with a electric breathing dragon or whatever. And in the Cloud Kingdom, it's just Bowser. But, I mean, the Cloud Kingdom just had more moons. And just more stuff to do. So, it's not that much better, and it obviously could be interchanged with the Ruined Kingdom, but either way you slice it, they're not good games, or kingdoms. You know what I mean, of course. Okay, this was like the last one out of all the boss refight kingdoms, or just boss fight kingdoms. The dark side was just fighting the Brutals with cool anti-gravity, which arguably makes the fight feel slower. Or the fight says in plural. And it kind of seems a little overly challenging in a way, because the Brutals are all extremely easy. So you're really not gonna need to be worrying too much if you're pretty good at the game. But you only get 3 hit points aside from 1 heart you get before you fight the giant Brutal Tower. Did I forget to mention that there are spoilers in this video? Yeah, there'd probably be a few spoilers in here, so sorry about that one, but I mean, let's be real, everyone's played Odyssey by now, or at least seen it. Anyways, that aside, this just isn't a very good kingdom. I only put it above the Cloud and Ruined Kingdom because it has more bosses to fight and more secret moons to collect. Plus, I like anti-gravity. Well, lower gravity. You know what I mean. Okay, I understand why this kingdom was a little linear compared to the rest of them. And just basically the darker side is very linear and you're just completing one moon. I mean, there's probably some secret moons somewhere, but I can't think of any right now. But the darker side, just compared to the rest of the kingdoms, is just one moon. I understand why, like I said, but that doesn't mean I'm going to put it any closer to number 1. I'm only putting it above Ruined Cloud and Dark Side because it's just the darker side is more than just boss fights. It's an actual full-on level, so yeah. And it actually took me quite a while to beat the darker side, but once I finally did, it was worth it. And to be honest, it's not even that difficult compared to levels like the Perfect Run or Champions Road. So, that's about all I have to say on this one, so let's move on. I just look at the Cap Kingdom as a kingdom with a bunch of added content later into the game. A lot of people don't like Odyssey because a lot of the power moons are added after you've already beaten the kingdom, and I personally don't mind it because I don't feel as overwhelmed, and it gives me a reason to go back to them. Plus, if all the power moons were available to you at once, there wouldn't be a lot of exploring to do the first time you go to the kingdom, because you probably wouldn't even have to fight the boss, because you just collect all the secret moons that are hidden throughout the area, and then just hop on the Odyssey and go. So, I personally don't have a big problem with that feature, but in the Cap Kingdom, it's basically every single moon in the entire kingdom is added later. And I understand why, as it's the first kingdom and you're supposed to be focusing on getting used to the game and the controls, but it doesn't make it any better, and it just kind of feels off. So, that's really all I got to say about that one. The Cap Kingdom does have some interesting moons, but most of them are just those stages where you go through the red door and like the secret stages. You know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, that's really all there is to the Cap Kingdom, and it's a little boring. So let's move on. I feel like a lot of people may not agree with this pick, but the Lake Kingdom just feels a little boring to me. I just feel like there's not many moons to collect. I don't know why that is, though, because obviously there's probably a lot of moons to collect in the Lake Kingdom, but it feels a little empty to me, and that's kind of the vibe it tries to give off, but I'm not sure if I like that vibe. I just kind of feel like I'm swimming around in this empty area, and if I leave the water, I'm in this big open area where I need to swim to get to. It just feels like a lot of swimming. And there's really only that one open area of swimming. The rest of the kingdom just is like very small sections that you're probably not going to be there much because they're very easy to collect all the power moons. Plus, the Lake Kingdom, I don't know why I said that. The Lake Kingdom doesn't even have a boss fight. And that just kind of ruined it for me, because I love boss fights, especially in Odyssey. I mean, they can be easy at times, but they're a lot of fun. And just a lack of a boss fight just kind of only added on to the empty feeling. I know it's trying to seem peaceful and all, so a boss fight could ruin that feeling, but I just wasn't a big fan of the Lake Kingdom. And it's one I generally don't hear other people talking about. So, that's about it. Let's move on. The Lost Kingdom, though, could also be interchanged with the Lake Kingdom. Not for the same reason, it doesn't feel empty to me. But the reason I don't like the Lost Kingdom is kinda, again, it doesn't have an actual boss fight. And the kingdom just feels so off, because you think you're going to the Metro Kingdom, but really you're ending up here after fighting Bowser. And I'm fine with that, but it just kind of throws you off in a weird sense. And you just feel weird. Like, I remember my first playthrough of the game, I was like, why am I here and what is this place? And sure, that's kind of the vibe it's trying to give off, but again, I don't know if I like that vibe. I kind of like knowing where I'm going. And after you rescue Cappy from Klepto, which by the way is a really nice reference to Mario 64, you just kind of randomly collect moons all of a sudden. Like, Klepto was only really part of the game for like 5 minutes at the most, and then you just go on collecting moons. It just feels a little sudden, and it just feels a little weird. But I digress. It's a good kingdom with some interesting moons, and the tropical wigglers are really fun to use. So let's move on. The Cascade Kingdom had a similar problem to the Cap Kingdom, where a lot of the content was added to it later. Again, I understand why. It's, well, simply because they were trying not to overwhelm the player. And they do a good job of that, of course, because by the Sand Kingdom, you're ready to collect some power moons. But, again, it just feels like you have to beat the game to be able to really play that kingdom. As you can only, well, I think you can collect more, but you only collect 5 power moons before you move on to another kingdom. And that just feels a little lame to me. But I digress, as this kingdom is amazing. From the amazing music, to the amazing dinosaur, and to the, well, everything else. This kingdom has some really fun moons to collect, and it's a great start to the game. I mean, even though you go through the Cap Kingdom first, but you know what I mean. The Cap Kingdom's more of a tutorial level. So, this is a great kingdom, and it just has this energy I really like. So yeah, let's move on. Look, the Snow Kingdom is really charming, and it's really nice to find that nice little village, or whatever you want to call it, inside that little drop. And it's a nice, cozy place to walk around in. But my problem with it is it just felt a little lazy to me. I mean, the first time you go to the Snow Kingdom, all you're really doing is beating 4 challenges and then competing in a race, and then you can leave. That's all there really is to it. But of course, when you come back, you can explore the actual snow part of the kingdom. So, I mean, it's not that lazy. I just kind of found the general idea of doing 4 levels a little lazy. But again, like I said, there is of course the snow area, but that's just the second part, really. You don't really focus on that part, so yeah. But this kingdom has a few enjoyable moons to collect, and it does have a nice cozy vibe that I enjoy. So, let's move on. Look, I feel like a lot of people might disagree with me on this, but I just found Bowser's Kingdom was a little too linear for me. Compared to the rest of the kingdoms, there's just not much to explore, even when you go back to it. It does have a nice Japanese theme, and overall, it looks visually stunning with the colorful clouds and, well, I'm mostly talking about those. I like the colorful clouds. They're nice. And that's kind of all there is to it. I mean, you do fight that giant brutal tower thing that I mentioned when I was talking about the dark side, but there's really not much to this kingdom when you think about it compared to the rest, and you go through it pretty fast. But I digress. Like I've said, that's probably my 3rd time saying it this episode or video, whatever you want to call it, because this kingdom is great. So yeah. If I'm correct, the Sand Kingdom actually has the most moons in the game besides the Mushroom Kingdom, but most of those are just talking to Toadette, so it doesn't really count. But the Sand Kingdom is a very fun place to explore. It has a nice, open, desert-like theme, which is obviously fitting, and has a nice town, has a cool kind of like building you climb up, like area. You know what area I'm talking about. The area in which you climb up that tower and then go to that other area with the poison swamp. I feel like I'm being very stupid. It actually has a name. I'm probably being very stupid. And then you got that awesome pyramid. Oh, and there's also a fishing pond in another poison swamp where if you ride a Jaxie, you can go into that secret tunnel. So, there's a lot to see and do in the Sand Kingdom. And there's really not much to say about it. It's pretty self-explanatory. A lot of moons to collect, and a lot of things to do, and a good kingdom overall. Anyways, let's move on. I don't know what it is I like about the Seaside Kingdom, but it's very relaxing. I don't know if it's the swimming, which I don't know why. I actually like the swimming in this kingdom as opposed to the Lake Kingdom. There's just so much to explore with the swimming in this place. I don't know if it's being able to run on water with those flowers, or I don't know if it's playing volleyball with that snail. Yeah, I shouldn't have said that. Maybe it's that tunnel where spikes get hurled at you. Okay, I'm moving out of that relaxing topic I touched on, aren't I? Well, this kingdom is awesome. There's a lot of moons to collect, a lot of fun to be had, a lot of stuff to see and do, and you can't beat that sunset you see after you beat the kingdom. Oh, and you also give an octopus too much IQ and explode his brain. Right? That's what happens to him, right? That's a very fun boss fight, by the way. I really like that boss fight. So, I enjoy the Seaside Kingdom, and that's about all I have to say on it. Again, I don't know what it is I like about the Wooded Kingdom, but it just feels so opening open, not opening. But it has a lot of places to explore, and it's not overwhelming because each area is generally divided up into its own section. You got the forest area, the kind of like lower level orange floored area. I don't know what it's made out of or what it's called. Then you got the area where you climb up that area. Then you got those two towers, and then you got that, what's it called again? The deep forest that you can get to by falling off the map. When I found out that secret, I was amazed. My mind was blown. I love that area so much. It's just so mysterious, and I like it. So yeah, the Wooded Kingdom does a good job of being open but not overwhelming. And there's a lot of stuff to do, let me tell you. I can think of a lot of moons. I mean, I won't name any, but I can think of them. The reason I'm not naming them is because I can't remember their names. Also, I really like capturing those onion-looking guys. You know, the ones that extend their legs. That's fun. I like those guys. And the Hammer Bros, or the Fire Bro. I think they just have that Fire Bro. Although, I think he appears after you beat that kingdom. Or the game. Whatever. Doesn't matter. I like this kingdom. That's about it, okay? And the boss fight's fun. I like the boss fight. And the Luncheon Kingdom. I didn't know turning the idea of food into a kingdom would work so well. There's a lot of stuff to do in the Luncheon Kingdom as well. From putting a gold turnip into a boiling pot of stew, to turning into a lava bubble, which I never thought I'd do in a Mario game, and swimming around some pink boiling lava, or to turning into a pile of meat and twitching so a bird will come pick me up and put it in a stew so I can fight it. Odyssey really has it all, doesn't it? I mean, I never thought I'd do that in any game, but yet I'm doing it in Odyssey. Can't wait for that sequel. Hopefully it comes out eventually. Or if it comes out at all. I don't know if it's been confirmed. I hope it does. Okay, that's an unrelated topic. But the Luncheon Kingdom is a genius idea, and it's played out so well. I just absolutely love the kingdom. And there's really not enough words I can use to describe all the moons. So I'm just gonna end it here. At this point, any one of these could be considered the best kingdom in the game. The Moon Kingdom is a great kingdom as well. I'm a little biased against it because I do like the anti-gravity and the broken wall jumps. But it is a really fun kingdom. And while it probably doesn't have the most moons to collect, there's still a lot of enjoyment to be had. Plus, it's where the infamous finale happens, where you, spoiler alert, I'll give you 3 seconds to click off. 3, 2, 1. You turn into Bowser and just destroy everything in your path, eventually escaping the moon, and seeing Mario and Bowser get rejected by Peach. Hey, if you're still here, I warned you about the spoilers. Assuming you haven't seen that part of Odyssey. And that part is probably my favorite part of Odyssey in all. And that's saying a lot, because this game has so much packed into it. So, yeah. This is a good kingdom. And, well, maybe I'm being a little biased against it, just because of that one part. It's a good kingdom, and I'd still put it probably this close to number 1 anyways. So anyways, let's move on. I love this kingdom as well. I was just so satisfied after basically escaping the core of the moon and seeing you can now go to the Mushroom Kingdom and seeing Mario sleeping or napping in his regular outfit. You know what, my dad to go put on my outfit again that I was already wearing. Plus, again, spoiler alert, you can get the Mario 64 outfit, which is just a great reference to Mario 64. And basically this entire kingdom is a reference to Mario 64 in a way. The castle has remixed castle music from Mario 64. You can jump into paintings. I feel like I mispronounced that, my bad. And it's just great. Plus, the moons are stars, which is another great reference, which was unnecessary but welcome. And yeah, this is a great kingdom. I enjoy playing this kingdom, and it's just so relaxing. Plus, I don't know why I'm saying this so much now, probably because I'm talking about the more important kingdoms, but again, spoiler alert, you can play as Yoshi, which, I never thought in any of the Mario games, instead of jumping on his back, you would capture him, take over his conscience, and give him Mario's mustache. Mario Odyssey's kind of messed up, isn't it? Just don't think about it too hard like I have. So yeah, this is a great kingdom, and there's a lot of enjoyment to be had. Are any of you surprised? This is hands down the best kingdom in the game. I mean, from the nice, epic, satisfying, yeah, there we go, I'm gonna go with that, music in the background, and let me tell you, when it kicks in, you just almost want to get up out of your chair and start dancing. Then, sorry if you heard that, I accidentally banged my mic in a weird way. There's so much to do and see, even though the place feels a little small. I mean, like, it is kind of a smaller kingdom, but there's still so much to do, and there's, like, you could play this kingdom for hours and still find new stuff, which is just absolutely incredible. And I will admit, the boss fight for this kingdom wasn't that great. I mean, actually, I take that back. The boss fight was good, just not great. It was good. There's some enjoyment to be had in that boss fight. And this is where my second favorite part comes in. The New Donk City Festival. To be honest, this just blows my mind every time. It's such simple level design, but the general feel and energy around it and amazing Donkey Kong references just make you appreciate the heck out of it. So, yeah, it's an amazing kingdom, and it brought back an ignored Mario character after years, Pauline, which, I mean, she doesn't have that much personality. She's kind of just like Peach and Daisy and Rosalina in that sense. Well, not Daisy, but more Peach and Rosalina, where there's not much personality, but maybe that'll change if there's ever a sequel to Odyssey, which hopefully Nintendo makes. But I could play this kingdom for literally ever. It's just that good. So, yeah, that's about it. Let's move on to the outro. Yep, those are some pretty good kingdoms, am I right? And that's kind of why Odyssey's my favorite Mario game. So, yeah, if it's not your favorite Mario game, then that's fine, but, you know, I hope you still enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.